Hi guys, it's Thommo and welcome to my latest Marvel recap as we slowly make our way towards Captain America Civil War. And this week we saw that amazing trailer which builds up the excitement tenfold. So just to recap through these films and reach the point at which we're at with Civil War coming is really, really exciting. So rewinding back to 2011, and Kenneth Branagh took the reins as he brought the first big screen adventure in Asgard to us, and it certainly posed an interesting prospect. This was a very expansive world that we'd never really experienced before. It brought to the fray a brilliant leading star in Chris Hemsworth, and I don't know whether or not a lot of other guys agree with me, but the whole gay for Gosling, what about hot for Hemsworth? Come on, guys. Anyway, so Thor focused on the mythical kingdom of Asgard, where Odin, the current king, was looking to pass his throne on to son Thor, but it all turned out that the Asgardians' main rivals and the villainous frost giants were looking to take over the kingdom with the help of the mischievous and misfit son Loki, played brilliantly by Tom Hiddleston, a villain who really hasn't been topped, I don't think, in the Marvel universe since this film came about. So with Loki's mischief reigning supreme, we saw Thor banished to Earth, where he meets Jane Foster and her cohorts, and the tale basically sees Loki looking to take over, but Thor trying to find his way back and save Asgard along with the help of his new and his old friends. So I think Thor's a bit of a divisive film in the MCU. It's one of those ones where a lot of people were quite happy with the way it panned out, while others find Thor not particularly one of the most interesting characters that have been brought together in the team of the Avengers. I personally think Thor is actually one of the better origin story films that have come in the MCU. I think it's such a brilliantly expansive world that we see. I think Kenneth Branagh really does do Asgard and the other worlds surrounding it absolute justice. I think visually this is a really beautiful film. I think the way in which they've been transferred from the pages of the comics to screen, it looks really grandiose. It's, as I say, so expansive, and you've got limitless possibilities with all these different locations that we see and hear about. And what's so great about this film as well, there's a lot of humour as well in the fact that Thor is essentially a fish out of water when he comes to Earth, and there's a lot of great in-jokes because of that. There's one particular scene I absolutely love, and it makes me chuckle every single time I see it. And that's where Thor goes into a pet shop and demands his steed, and it's just you can't help but laugh. And also when he's in the coffee shop as well, and he finishes his coffee and he literally just shouts "more," slams a cup on the ground, and it's just little touches like that make this film just that little bit extra special. And I know a lot of the Marvel films have that humour, but these kind of things, the fish out of water jokes, are very different to the other films, and I think it kind of sets itself apart as well. And also going back to Loki as well, I don't think Marvel has produced on the big screen such a dominant, charismatic, and really memorable villain throughout the whole films. I think the Winter Soldier, I think certainly he is one of the most impressive villains that we've seen recently, but nobody really matches up to Loki. I think Loki could carry a film on his own. I think very much if he wasn't in this film and the other films to follow that he is in, there would be a massive chunk missing. And Tom Hiddleston has really raised his stock because of Loki, and I really don't think you could find anyone better to have played this role. He's certainly a really great adversary for Thor and eventually the Avengers. I think hopefully we see more of him in the future, and he is certainly much of a part of the MCU as Thor is, really. I think as a whole, Thor is a very impressive film. Maybe if you watch it again, you'll see a few flaws to it. Fair enough. It's these origin stories, because they're slightly older than the films that probably have more budget in the MCU these days. It might lack a little bit, but I think the set pieces are really well executed. I think there's enough action in there to get you excited. I think that the depth in the story of Thor and his followers, and a lot of the side characters are quite interesting, like Heimdall, Idris Elba's character, and there's a level of intrigue to them, and you want to get to know them more. So it has those aspects, and I think as a whole, Thor is a credible presence in the MCU, and I'd certainly recommend a rewatch leading up to Civil War, because you may have missed a lot of what is impressive about it years ago when you first watched it. So that's my latest recap, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you do think of the first Thor film. Do you agree with me and it is an impressive film, or do you think it's one of those ones that you'd quite gladly skip from the catalogue in favour of others? So leave some comments. It'd be really good to hear your thoughts. As ever, I'll be bringing these recaps every single Sunday leading up to the May release of Captain America Civil War. Check out the Movie Marker website. Really great stuff going on there every week. And until next week's entry of Captain America, the First Avenger, take care.